Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Ever wonder what really goes on behind the closed doors of big corporations? Well, today we are cracking open Omnicom Group's latest filing. And trust me, it's not just about fancy ads and catchy slogans, it's about money, power, and a few shareholder squabbles we are going to talk about. So strap in. Before we dive in, if you enjoy getting real insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Come join us. This document is called an 8K, and companies use it to quickly tell investors about big news or events. Think of it as corporate breaking news. This one is all about their annual shareholder meeting that happened earlier in May. The important date here is May 6th, which is when this big shareholder meeting actually happened. The filing itself was released a few days later. This is important because the law requires Omnicom to quickly disclose important events. Okay, let's jump into what actually happened at the meeting. Basically, the shareholders, the people who own a piece of the company, got to vote on some important stuff. This included electing the board of directors, voting on executive pay, and even a shareholder proposal. First up, electing the board of directors. Think of the board as the company's supervisors. Shareholders get to pick who gets that job. In this case, 11 people were elected to the board. Let's check out how many votes the candidates received. We can see John D. Wren, for example, got a whopping 154,859,470 votes for, with only 593 votes against. Interesting. It looks like Leonard Coleman got significantly less votes, with 143,083,686 votes for and 22,969,352 abstaining. Looks like there are people who weren't sure on this guy. Next, there was a vote on executive compensation. This is where shareholders get to give their opinion on how much the top executives are getting paid. It's an advisory vote, meaning the company doesn't have to listen, but it's a good way to gauge shareholder sentiment. Looks like most shareholders, 148,965 of them voted for the executive compensation, but a sizable 79,460 have voted against. This is a reasonably high number of against votes and shows that a lot of people were not happy with how much the executives made. The next thing was about choosing the company's independent auditors. This is a company that checks Omnicom's books to make sure everything is done correctly. The shareholders ratified or approved the appointment of KPMG LLP. The vote was overwhelmingly in favour, with 166,894,902 votes for. It's basically a formality, but necessary. Finally, there was a shareholder proposal about having an independent board chairman. Basically, some shareholders wanted the person leading the board to be separate from the company's management to avoid conflicts of interest. It looks like this proposal didn't pass. Only 46,852,578 voted against, so the shareholders decided to keep things as they are. This shows the board and management have a fairly good control over shareholder votes now. What does this all mean? Omnicom seems to be in a pretty stable position. The election of directors went smoothly, suggesting confidence in the current leadership. The significant number of votes against executive pay should raise some eyebrows though. It signals that a large chunk of shareholders are unhappy with the current compensation packages and could push for changes in the future. It is something for them to keep in mind. The rejection of the independent board chairman proposal shows that shareholders are okay with the current leadership structure, but it also means that there's a potential risk of conflicts of interest down the line. Overall, Omnicom is doing alright, but they need to pay attention to those rumblings of discontent among the shareholders about executive pay. Ignoring those concerns could lead to bigger problems later on. Alright, that's our breakdown of Omnicom's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.